The last time, and for the last 4 years, all we've heard is, I won, they were mean to me, they were mean to me, I won, I won, I won, I won, I won. You lost! But you lost!
That was for real, I'm sorry. He even surprised some Republicans with sweeping pardons to the January 6th insurrectionists, including Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and other violent rioters. But he wasn't thrilled about Biden issuing pardons of his own on the way out. Take a look.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Of our problem. We need a free and fair press badly, desperately. I watched the way they asked questions of Kamala yesterday. Howard Stern, he's a weak guy. He's weak. He's going, what about, It was so ridiculous.
I think that a lot of questions. What's going on? This is not normal. And is it really shocking that all this egregious violence goes against my husband? Especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names. They only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that they want to do harm to him. This needs to stop.
It would be naive, and I think it would be dishonest for us to say that this president that we are looking at is the same person that we looked at in 2020. I think it would be dishonest for us to look at him and his performance now and his performance across the board, really, not in terms of policy and what he's gotten done, but when he speaks and his appearances. But this is the same man that was Barack Obama's vice president for 8 years. And it would be dishonest for us to look at his record as a senator, which is a darn good record.
Before we dive back into the story, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. And if you're enjoying these stories, make sure you're subscribed. Tomorrow's special episode is one you definitely don't want to miss. For years, The View operated as a platform where co-hosts, led by the likes of Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, launched relentless attacks on Donald Trump, his family, and anyone remotely associated with his political ideology. The discussions often descended into outright hostility, filled with accusations and insinuations presented under the guise of hot topics. Trump, his children, and even his wife Melania were frequently dragged into the spotlight. Ivanka was labeled an enabler of her father's alleged corruption. Donald Jr. was mocked for his vocal support of Trump's policies, and even young Barron Trump was not spared from offhand jabs. The show thrived on controversy, turning political discourse into daytime television entertainment. Their criticism of Trump became a reliable ratings booster. While Trump publicly dismissed these attacks as fake news and mainstream media nonsense, behind the scenes, he and his team were quietly preparing a decisive counterstrike. The turning point came when The View aired a particularly inflammatory episode accusing Trump of manipulating financial systems to inflate his wealth and evade taxes. Framed as an exposé, the segment quickly devolved into unsubstantiated personal attacks. Trump's legal team responded swiftly, filing a defamation lawsuit that named not only the show but also the individual co-hosts and network executives. The lawsuit was meticulously crafted to hold The View accountable for years of unchecked defamatory rhetoric. Trump's lawyers presented a cache of internal communications from the show's producers, revealing a pattern of sensationalism prioritized over factual accuracy. Emails showed producers pushing unverified claims simply because they made for compelling television. Some co-hosts privately expressed doubts about the allegations they discussed on air, exposing a show more concerned with cultural relevance than journalistic integrity. The revelations left the network scrambling. Adding to the chaos, Trump's family rallied behind him with their own lawsuits and public statements. Melania Trump filed a separate case accusing The View of defaming her by questioning her role as First Lady and insinuating she was trapped in an unhappy marriage. Ivanka Trump released a scathing statement condemning the show's treatment of her family as a campaign of personal destruction masked as political commentary. These lawsuits were not just about legal retribution, they were a coordinated effort to dismantle The View's credibility. Trump's children, particularly Ivanka and Don Jr., actively gathered evidence, with Don Jr. making media appearances to argue that The View was a partisan propaganda machine. Trump himself amplified the lawsuits through interviews, social media posts, and rallies, ensuring the public was informed about the show's alleged hypocrisy and misconduct. The fallout was swift. Advertisers began withdrawing their sponsorships, unwilling to associate with a show mired in controversy. Viewers started tuning out, either disillusioned by the revelations or persuaded by Trump's portrayal of the show as unfair and biased. Facing mounting financial and reputational losses, the network abruptly announced the cancellation of The View, citing vague plans to restructure its programming. However, insiders revealed that the decision was entirely driven by the impact of Trump's lawsuits and the public relations disaster they caused. For Trump, the dismantling of The View was the ultimate vindication. The show had been a persistent thorn in his side, but its takedown wasn't just about silencing critics. It was about exposing flaws in a media landscape that, in his view, allowed such platforms to operate unchecked. Trump framed the cancellation as a victory for fairness and accountability against a media machine he claimed was out to destroy him. His supporters celebrated the show's demise as evidence of Trump's resilience and ability to fight against perceived cultural and political bias. In the aftermath, the co-hosts of The View faced their own reckoning, left to grapple with the fallout of a controversy that had brought an end to one of daytime television's most controversial platforms. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar, once untouchable figures in daytime television, found themselves ostracized after the cancellation of The View. Joy, known for her brash and polarizing commentary, struggled to find work as networks distanced themselves from the controversy. Whoopi, who had enjoyed a celebrated Hollywood career, saw her reputation tarnished. The aftermath of the show's abrupt cancellation sent shockwaves across the media industry. Donald Trump, far from simply celebrating his victory, used the show's demise as ammunition in his broader campaign against what he called the dishonest liberal media. At rallies, he reenacted the show's final days, portraying the co-hosts as flustered and defeated. He framed the legal battle as a necessary step to expose bias, lies, and hypocrisy in the media, positioning himself as a champion of truth. The Trump family capitalized on the fallout. Ivanka Trump, often a target of the show's harshest critiques, spoke openly in interviews about the emotional toll The View's rhetoric had taken on her family. She described how her children were exposed to unfair criticism and how her late mother, Ivana, had been deeply hurt by the show's mockery. "This wasn't about differing opinions," Ivanka said in a major interview. "It was about weaponizing a platform to destroy us. They thought they were untouchable, but they learned the hard way that nobody is above accountability." Even Melania Trump, usually reserved and private, broke her silence. In a rare public statement, she expressed relief over the show's cancellation, calling it a victory for everyone who has been slandered and demeaned by careless words in the name of entertainment. Her defamation lawsuit resulted in a substantial settlement, solidifying the perception that the Trump family had outmaneuvered their critics. Inside the network, executives scrambled to contain the fallout. An internal investigation revealed a culture where ratings took precedence over journalistic integrity. Producers admitted to scripting debates for maximum drama, and staffers confessed to cherry-picking stories designed to fuel outrage against Trump and his allies. These revelations destroyed the last shreds of The View's credibility and caused a ripple effect, leading to plummeting ratings across the network's other flagship programs. For the co-hosts, life after The View was far from smooth. Joy Behar attempted to pivot to a podcast but struggled to gain traction, as sponsors hesitated to associate with her for fear of backlash from Trump supporters. Whoopi Goldberg faced a similar fate. Her once illustrious acting career was overshadowed by the scandal. Studios grew wary of hiring her, unwilling to deal with the baggage of her association with the show. Younger co-hosts, who had joined in later years, found their careers effectively blacklisted before they even began. The cancellation of The View also sparked a broader conversation about the role of opinion-based programming in shaping public discourse. Let's play a little game. For those reading the comments, type Coca-Cola in the comments. Only those who get to this point will understand. Critics across the political spectrum began questioning whether the pursuit of entertainment had eroded the line between commentary and factual reporting. Even Joe Rogan weighed in on the controversy, calling it a cautionary tale for media figures who prioritize ego over truth. "You can't just make stuff up and expect to get away with it forever," Rogan remarked on his podcast. "The Trumps fought back, and they won. It's a wake-up call for a lot of people." As the dust settled, Trump used The View's cancellation to further his media ambitions. Rumors circulated about his plans to launch a new television network or digital platform dedicated to what he called real news, free from mainstream media corruption. His supporters eagerly rallied behind the idea, hoping to see their leader create a platform to rival the media giants they had grown to distrust.